Right, good morning, everyone. This is our second lesson on monetary policy, and specifically, what we're looking at inflation. So we spoke about inflation last week, and generally, inflation is just a rise in prices from one year to the next. And we looked at kind of the extreme examples: the Zimbabwe's and the Venezuelas, and the Weimar Republic in Germany. They're extreme examples, but they're the kind of ones you'd remember, hence why I spoke about them. But inflation is it's a normal part and parcel of any economy. We're going to look at the current inflation rate in Ireland at them in a moment if we've time. The first thing we need to work out is how is it measured? How do you actually calculate the rate of inflation? Is inflation 2%, 5%, 10%? How do we go about doing it? And there's three things we're going to need to look at. We're going to look at how very simply mathematically you look at an increase in a price of a particular good. So you can take any good you want. You can take the price of milk. If the price of milk goes up from €1 to €2, the price of milk goes up by 2 pence. It's pretty straightforward. And this is the first thing, looking at simple ways. This is called a simple price index. So a simple way of measuring a price increase and putting on an index. So very simple. This is a very simple example. You need to know that's behind this to do. I wouldn't even say the more complicated stuff, but to take it to the next level. So very simply, you look at any product, the price of a product. This is just from the book. The price of a garlic bulb, for instance, in year one is 9 cents. It goes up then. And the question they might ask you is, well, what's the rate of inflation between year one and year two? Or what's the rate of inflation between the 4 years? So between like 2016 and 2020, what has the price of garlic gone up by? And the way you do this, it's very simple. It's very simple. Now, unfortunately, this is not in your maths tables, but it's a very simple formula you need to remember. It's you look at the price of it in the current year, you look at the price of it in what's called the base year, which means is the year we're comparing it to. So when you were measuring the price of inflation, you're comparing 2 years. The original year, which is called the base year, to the current year, which is now. So for example, very simply, year one, the price is 90. That's our base year. Year two, price is going up to 92 cents. So the formula is we put 92 over 90 multiplied by 100, and you get 102.22. Year three, you can see it's gone from 93 to 90 over 100, 103. Year four, same thing. Year four, 99 over 90 times 100. Now, really what we're looking for, and you're looking for, is what is it going up by? You can see here in year two, it's gone up by 2.2. That's 2.2%. So from year one to year two, the price of garlic has gone up by 2.2%. In year three, from year one, it's gone up by 3.33%. And in year four, so for 4 years, the price of garlic has risen by 0.1, 10%, if that makes sense. So that's very simple to do. You're probably not even going to have to do this. Might pop up in an ordinary level question, but it's not going to pop up in a higher level question. So we have to take it to the next level. And the next level is there's no point when we look at the price of inflation, we're looking at the prices of the general price rise of kind of everything, of what we call kind of a basket of goods. We don't say, oh, the price of garlic has gone up, therefore I need a wage increase. We don't say the price of milk has gone up, therefore I need a wage increase. We say the price of everything has gone up by average 3 or 4%, therefore I need a wage increase. So what we do is we take this simple price index, we're only looking at the price of one product, and we add a few more bits and pieces to it. So we add maybe 4 or 5 more products to it. And we're going to look at this today. We're going to calculate this today. And then the next level then is you look at the price of everything. And that's called the consumer price index, which we'll talk about in a minute. So this is basically how we do it. You need to get 3 or 4 products or 4 or 5 products. And in your exam that you do in your Leaving Cert, they're only going to give you like 3, 4 products max. And they're going to say, work out the composite price index for this. And they'll be general. You can see here down at the bottom, like food, transportation, health. They're just going to say, these are 3 industries or 3 retail sectors where the price has gone up by X amount of money. So you see all these steps. You need to remember all these steps. This is important to note. This question is asked all the time. What are the steps involved in constructing a composite price index? But again, let's just think about it logistically. Number one, choose a base year. So what year are we comparing it to? So at the very bottom there in the table, you can see the price of item in the base year. And in the base year is just, what are we comparing it to? It's now 2021. Are we comparing it to 2020 or 2019? So you need to compare it to a different year. That's your base year. And at all the prices equal 100. Forget about that for a second. All that means is that 100 is your percentage. We're starting at 100, and if we go up, there's a percentage there. Select the goods and find the prices of goods for all years. So we've selected our goods. Our goods are food, transportation, and health. Find the prices for all the goods in all the years. Well, you can see there the price in year 1, price in year 2, price in year 3, price in year 4. Number 3, you can construct a simple price index for each good, which is what we've been doing. Multiply the simple price index by the weight. Now, this is really important. This is probably the most important lesson you'll learn from today. This thing called the weight, the percentage of your income that's spent on an item. If the price of milk has gone up by 1,000%, that's irrelevant unless we spend a huge part of our income on milk. What do I spend most of my income on? I spend the vast majority of my income on a single item is spent on my mortgage. What do I spend? I spend about 1,300 euros a month on my mortgage. If the price of that mortgage goes up because the interest rate goes up or the bank fees go up or whatever the case may be, that has far more of an impact on my quality of life and my standard of living, on my disposable income, than the price of any single other smaller product. So we need to work out, does this have a weighting on it? Is this a significant price increase based upon how much I spend my income on? Because if the price of a pack of Pringles doubles in price, it doesn't really have a major effect on the economy. But if the price of a lot of important stuff that I spend my income on goes up, that has more of a weight. And we can see here at the bottom, it says percentage of income spent on item per weight. Food, 40%. Transportation, 25%. Health, 35%. So 40% is where the most of my food goes, most of my income, most of my spend goes on. Which means that I, as an individual consumer, care more about the price of food increasing than I do about the price of transportation increase. And that has to be taken into account when we calculate inflation. So we're going to do that now. I have 7 minutes left. This will probably move on to the second video. That's absolutely no problem. So if it does, it does. So I want you all to take out a pen and paper, by the way, and you need a calculator for this. So you're going to actually work out, looking at this thing on the bottom, you're going to work out the inflation rate. The inflation rate. So can we do that? Pause it, get a video, get a pen, get a paper, the whole lot. Okay, so here is the question here. And I've just put up all these different things here. So this is the steps involved. Choose a representative here, decide which goods, gather the data, construct a simple index, etc. So let's have a look at this. Let's do food first. So food, what's the situation with food? So we need to figure out, first of all, what are we doing? Are we going to get the difference between year 1 and year 2, or the difference between year 1 and year 4? Well, let's just for this example, let's just look for the first example. Let's get the inflation rate. Between year 1 and year 2. Okay, year 2. Sorry, my pen is really poor. So that's what we're looking at. We're just going to look at this right here. They're the only things we're going to look at, but we need to take into account the weight, the amount of money that we spend on this. So let's do this. And again, I want you to do this with me because I'm going to get you to do a question like this for homework. So the first thing is food. So going back to our formula, the formula says put the new year, which is 21, which is right here, all over the base year, which is 19, and you multiply that by 100 over 1. Okay, so out your calculators, it's 21 divided by 19, and that is 1.10, or 110. 0.5. We'll put in the 0.5 for the fun. They might ask you for 2 decimal places. That's it. So food has increased by 10%. What about transportation? Well, transportation has gone up from 44. So the new one is 44 all over 45. So it's actually happened to transportation. It's actually gone down. There's actually been deflation in transportation. So the regulators might have come out and said, the price of transportation is too high. We're going to decrease fares. And if that's the case, that's the case. What's our figure? 97.7. And then the last thing is health. So the price of health. And I pay a lot of money in health. I pay a huge amount of money in my health. My health insurance is about 160 euros a month, which is a lot of money. And let's look at this. It's gone from 30, it's gone to 30 from 28. So 30 divided by 28, multiplied by 100 over 1. which is 30. Let's just get your calculator out. 30 divided by 28 is 1071. So 107. Okay. Now we still haven't worked out the rate of inflation, because what we need to do here is up here. It says multiply the price change for each good by its relevant weight. By its relevant weight. Well, how do we do that? Well, let's have a look at the weight of food. So I spend 40% of my income on food, which means I need to multiply this by 40%. Now, the first time you're going to see this, you're going to be like, this is a bit weird, but it's very simple. Multiply this by 25%. It's like anything else you see in maths. It's like the first time you see it, it looks a bit tricky, but you're going to do this for me about 10 times. So we multiply each of these: food by 40%, transportation by 25%, health by 35%, equals, what's my answer? So again, let's go back to our sums. 110.5 multiplied by 0.4, which is 40%, which gives us 44.2. And then we need to multiply 97.7 multiplied by 0.25, which gives me, is that right? Yes, it is, 24.4. And then the last thing I need to do is I need to multiply 107 times point. I'm going to do another one of these, by the way, in another video, so don't be worrying too much. And that gives me 37.45. What's my next step? My next step, I need to add up all the price changes to get an overall change in the price. Add all these up. So how do I do it? 37.45 plus 24.4 plus 44.2. And that gives me 106.05, which means we have a, therefore, the inflation rate. So the rate of inflation between year 1 and year 2 is, what is it? 6.05%. The only thing that causes a bit of issue is this thing called the weighting. And really all we're looking at here is we're looking, sorry, I just did that incorrectly, is this thing here, the weighting. And the weighting is just a proportion of my money that I spend overall. And I have to give more weight. I have to give more precedence to the stuff I spend more of my money on. What do I spend? Again, let's just re-emphasize this. I spend the bulk of my money on mortgage payments and food. I spend no more than your household. You probably spend about 150 euros in Dunnes Stores every single week. You multiply that by 4, that's like 600 quid a month. Multiply that by 12, that's like 7 grand every year spent on food. It might be more, which means that I'm affected more if the price of food goes up than I would be if the price of cinema or entertainment or restaurants go up. Which means that the Central Statistics Office, CSI, or the CSO, should I say, they have to put a weight, they have to put a percentage weight on particular goods depending on how much is spent by individuals. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to do another video on this in a second, so I just want you to have a look at that, okay? We might do a second video and we might look at, for instance, between year 1 and year 4. So we'll do that in the next video, and then I'm going to look at an exam question. And there's an exam question here that I will correct as well. Very simple to do. Okay, and then I'm going to give you a question for tonight. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do this twice again for you, and then you will have question 2 for homework. Okay, I'm going to keep going right now.